was just going to say for the men on this panel that's saying that all these women are asking those questions with the finances and leading that, and that's what they're dating with. What needs to be happening is when you're vetting for that woman, you need to be asking the questions of what are you pulling in yearly? You know what I mean? What are you bringing in here? Because at the end of the day, I know what I'm bringing, right? But what are you bringing? Because at the end, we want a partnership here is what we're looking for. I'm not looking for me to be taking care of you, all of that, and financially. At the end of the day, can you pull in what I'm pulling? Can you be equally yoked with me in that sense financially? Right? So if a woman asks you that question, your next question need to be, well, what is your yearly? I'm curious about what you do. You know what I mean? And put it back on that table and see what she says. And if she's like, well, I work at Applebee's. All right, well, you know what? Applebee's isn't going to financially keep me stable. So I'm moving on.
Well, I guess, Monica, I definitely hear that perspective. But, and the men, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've often heard from a lot of men is um, they're just looking for women to be in the role of a woman, and that her finances, typically men say that our finances don't really matter as much as what we would think that they do. So they typically don't want us on the equal, to be equal with them in finances. And men, there are three men on here. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with a man asking the woman, well, do you bring the same thing to the table or similar to what I'm bringing? Because if we go to the natural order of things, it is the man's job to provide. That has never been the woman's job until we went into the role of feminism and equal rights and all of those different things. That's never been our job. So I'm interested to hear what what the men have to say about that.
I just
You're
have to
correct.
quickly. I just have to.
No,
No,
go
I
ahead.
have to quickly. I have to quickly rebuttal to that because in the sense of what I was meaning, my darling, with it was more on the less of a lot of the men who, well, they were up here before they had said when they complain about it or that's a problem for them when a woman is only worried about the finances, right? If that's the case, they can't be worried about the finances, right? If she asked that question, and they shouldn't be offended by that question, right?
I don't think money should even come up while you're dating anyway. If it's nothing going on seriously, then why are we discussing our finances? Are we trying to move in together? Are we trying to buy something together? If we're not doing none of those things together, your money is your money and my money is my money. Sorry.
Well, I would like to hear what Tech Force. I know he was going to comment, so I would like to hear what he had to say too.
So what I was saying is that most men date down, especially men with money. We date down. And what I mean by that, we're not looking for somebody that's financially in a certain situation. We'll date somebody that works at McDonald's. Women date up, men date down. Um, Most women are taught to look for somebody that will be able to provide for them. And in that aspect, you'll see somebody. We don't talk about financing with the woman. We want to make sure that they have a good head on their shoulders, if they have a job, if they have something going on for themselves. But for the most part, we're not talking about finance. Especially if we're getting serious about somebody, we care more about family values. We care more about being equally yoked on that level of what we're looking for in the future, but not finances.
Bears Den, you want to speak to the topic? Lake Arrington, I want to speak, Lake.
Well, I agree with what the man said. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot more other things that we're worried about. You know what I'm saying? That we're not worried about necessarily what she makes and everything like that. We worried about is she a good mom? She a good woman? Is she respectful? Does she respect herself? Does she support? Is she spiritual? Um, can she listen? Can she exchange power with me? You know what I'm saying? Can she understand when she's wrong? Can she be accountable? Can she apologize? Can she say when she need help? Do she got pride? How strong is her pride? We worried about things more like that. We ain't worried about, you know what I'm saying, if she making 70, 80, 100 grand. Because we understand when they make that much, they either want their equal or they want superior. So, or bad to say, some of the women lead with their education. They if they got masters, they got bachelors, they got doctorates. They wearing that shit like a band. My bad. They wearing that like a Superman hero, like the emblem or something. So, and we care nothing about your education either. So I'm gonna go ahead and say the money and your education. I don't care. I don't care if you got seven associates from Maryland uh, Institute of Technology. And you got three bachelors, two masters, and one PhD. I'm glad there was achievements that she wanted to go handle, but as a collective, that's not something that we as men gonna be like, oh snap. You know what I'm saying? That's just not what we're doing.
But let me go back and speak to the actual topic. My opinion is love can actually survive short-term struggles if there's an actual plan to come out of that struggle.
That's
If there's
true.
no plan, that stress and instability is going to cause everything to go wrong. The emotional connection that y'all had together, that shit is over. Oh, excuse my language. That is over.
Nothing else. Just sitting here thinking. That's it.
Go ahead. You good? Go ahead. Go ahead, Bear then.
Oh, okay. But to actually love somebody deeply, you can still feel drained in those struggles. That'll force y'all to split up. Even the strongest connection will split up because of money instabilities. Them bills gonna become overwhelming. That love gonna go out the window. I'm mad at you. She mad at me. There's no end. There's no end to this. So love has a possibility to weather some storms, but we got to have a plan to get out of this storm. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. To me, it make perfect sense.
Oh, that's perfect, sir.
100%. 100%.
That's some good insight.
Now, would you say, Bear, that that's why it takes, you can't have two of a kind running yourself financially into a rut? Somebody's got to be financially disciplined in the relationship, right?
Oh, it definitely has to be opposites. Opposites have to attract.
Right. You can't have two people running the money down and not having any type of financial responsibility. You
I
know?
heard what you were saying previously. You're exactly right. The good thing is you were able to see it before it got too late.
Yes. Yes, you better believe that, right? And I had to be disciplined, you know what I mean, and submissive in that sense, right? I had to submit to that and to say, you're right, you know what I mean. In a man in your leadership quality, you should be the one that's leading the finances in that sense and be smarter about it, you know. But some instances, women are smarter and handle it, like in my
Yes.
mom and dad situation. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. How long did it actually take you to let yourself submit?
Right away when we got serious, because we were older when we got together. Okay,
Okay.
we were 40 when we got together,
Oh yeah.
and 42, I was blessed to even have my son. So I have a 2.5 year old. My
Oh yeah.
kids
You
are
was late in the
22
game.
years apart. Yeah, but like I said, before I didn't have my kids earlier because I wasn't financially stable, meaning I wasn't like I didn't want to be broke with a bunch of kids just because I wanted them. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
right now it's cake financially having this son. But I'm older and I'm tired. So it's a balance. It goes
Your
both
patience
ways,
is
right?
thin now.
Yeah, right. And I don't have enough energy, right, for a 2.5-year-old. But I financially can take care of this kid, no problem, right? But like I said, it took me into this relationship to understand that I needed help, right? Like, I need help. There's no way that at my age and the amount of money that I've been making all these years, 26 years in dentistry as a hygienist, you know what I mean? I should be like not having tons of money saved, right? I was burning through money because money was coming, right? You know what I mean? Just burning through it, right? Eating out, doing what I want to do, take vacations, spending money just because I had it, right? But realize that wasn't the way to work the money, and he knew that, so and he helped me with it, right? And I needed help, and I was okay with that because I was desperate, right? We're getting older. I'm closer to retirement than younger. You know what I mean? It's time to buckle down.
See, you understanding of the submission part. When women hear submission, they think slavery, and that's the hard part to try to get to relate a person as your significant other. Is that yeah, you have to submit. It's got to be some. You can't have two people driving the bus. You're not gonna get anywhere.
If I wish women would understand more that submitting actually controls the man.
Yes.
I wish
It does.
I wish they would understand that. I wish they would understand by them submitting, actually, they actually really control the man, even though it
We're
looks
gonna
from the
ask more
outside.
for their insight.
Yeah, so I wish, but I think that's a faith-based thing. So if they don't know anything about that, or been doing that, or it doesn't give a reward. Sometimes I think women are reluctant to do it because they feel like no matter what they do, the outcome is still going to be the same. But if you ever talk to a real submissive woman in her relationship or marriage, she runs that house.
And he's a
Absolutely.
smart man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a smart man for knowing that. Most men won't even admit that. They see submission and say submission, and I still run this household. She ain't running nothing. At the end of the day, when you know that a submissive woman actually is quietly leading the household, quietly is the key, not outwardly and outlandish, right? Running around with this masculine mentality that we don't really have, right? We shouldn't pull it out. Women are strong in the sense because we can be masculine and feminine all in one. A woman pulls out her masculinity when she feels unsafe, when she feels like she has to pull that out because we have to pull that strength up from somewhere. You know what I
I,
mean? We don't like it when a man pulls his feminine side out. Now he's weak, right? We're like, oh, yeah, you don't step into that zone. But when we do it, we just have that ability. But at the end of the day, submissiveness requires strength, right? In the quiet, behind the scenes, right? And then the smart man absolutely knows my woman does run this household, but at the end of the day, I run this household, right? So yeah,
Were you the same lady last week who said you had a trust fund from your parents? Was that you?
yeah, I do,
Okay.
I do.
Okay, so does your man manage that trust fund for you?
Oh no, a trust fund. If you know what a trust fund is, a trust is run by like the trust, like it's who's ever in that trust. My mom is at the top of the trust, right?
Okay.
And my name is there, yeah.
Okay.
And that trust fund is it is not just given freely to you. You actually have to go into it and you have to like have reasoning between getting the money. It's not just here you go, here's your trust fund, you turn 21.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
But like you
It's just
said,
the
uh, that was not a lie because men actually have to submit too because of the aggressive nature that we have. You have to be soft for women. So we have to submit the things that we are just to be around women. I don't think they understand that. That actually forces men to be protective and be providers when women are submissive to them.
They actually end up getting more control by being submissive. If they would actually know how it works, because most of the time If you have a submissive woman, you're going to be asking her opinion more because now that she submit, well, baby, what you think about this? Well, yeah, maybe we should do it that way.
Yeah, and when a woman works and it's like a 50-50 household in that sense, like it's never 50-50, right? It's always a combined shared responsibility in that sense. And at the end of the day, like you have to be able to know you're working for something. Like I said, I'm working and I'm working for something, but I can't let my money just me work for money and not let my money work for me. You know, that's the downfall of it, right? It's like even though, like Thriven was saying, yeah, I know what she was probably trying to say. Yeah, I have this trust fund in that sense, but that's the generational wealth. That's not for me to play with. That's not. They've already said that's not my living expense. I can't use that money to pay my mortgage, to pay my bills. Like those are things that it's wrapped up in another thing. So I can't count on it as much as I would like to count on it. But me working every day, that's what I have to count on. But my responsibility level as a woman and a wife, I wear very many different hats, right? Just because I work doesn't make me this pure feminist of not knowing how to be a wife. You know what I mean? Take care of the house and take care of my man. That's just me knowing how to work and make money and bring things to the table for us.
I hear a lot of accountability on the stage from the women. You guys seem to have a certain level of accountability and you treating a man a certain way, but I run across a whole bunch of reels and just different things and just put a perspective on how the mentality is the complete opposite of you guys. You guys are speaking towards a different, you coming from a different place with your
A lot of
experience.
maturity on here. That's what it is. A lot of maturity in these women that we have on here.
Because in the real world, I mean, you guys living in the real world, but it's a little different out there. Well, it's a lot different.
Say this. Sometimes we say things and it sounds nice, right? But life will be lifing. I've never met a couple who have not encountered difficulties, right? And you have to have a long-term plan, short-term and long-term plan. You have to. Otherwise, you're going to learn the hard way. Yeah, he might make really good money right now. Somebody has a background echo or something too, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me try to see. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying he might make good money right now, but what if he can't work? What if he gets sick? What if he gets into an accident? What if, God forbid, your house got catches on fire? Now you have to start over. What if you lose a child? What if you lose a loved one? What if he loses his best friend? I mean, there's so many things that do happen, and sometimes we act as though, I meet this person, I'm in love, things are looking good, we got our money, we have, these things, but you've got to plan, unfortunately, for the heartaches, and they will happen, right? That's just life. So if we could just say, okay, things are good right now, but what if you can't work? What's the plan? What if I get pregnant and I get sick and I can't work, right? Am I gonna stay home to nurse and raise our baby, or am I expected to go to work? Could we plan it something better? Maybe downsize here, maybe take on a side gig, maybe save for those 2 3 years for that baby, right? I think the problem is we go into this thing. It's not that love is wrong. It's not that having money is wrong. It's just we don't really do proper planning.
Wow, I like that perspective. I really do. I really like that perspective. Hey, young lady, how you doing? You can speak to the topic if you like.
I'm good, sir. I'm good, sir. I was gonna speak to the submission thing. I, uh, it should be natural. I think one of the men asked Monica how long did it take for her to submit. I think submission, when it's in you, for lack of a better term, it should be natural. I think when you submit, you should feel like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And then you should just go with it. I think submission, when it's in you, for lack of a better term, I think submission, when it's in you, It's just a natural thing. It's not something where you're like, okay, it's been, 5 months. I'm getting ready to submit. It's just a natural thing because it's just God's order. That's just how it is. You're supposed to be submissive to your husband. And I wanted to clarify too for the people who are possibly in the comments, submission doesn't mean that you're a slave. Submission means that there is a head. It doesn't mean that he's not listening to you, but at the end of the day, he makes the ultimate decision because he's responsible for the whole, right? We all have our role, but submission is so important, and I think that it's so missing in our relationships today, and that's why relationships are failing because they're not in their natural order. Women are not supposed to be the leaders, and a lot of women won't step back and allow men to take their rightful place. And so we have this, the order is just out of whack. And until that happens, we'll be in situations where we won't be successful because it's not natural. Okay, I'm sorry, I had to say that. Can love survive without financial stability? I think that's what that's saying. Is that
Yes.
okay? Oh no, you can't. No, you got to live, and I think you have to have a plan. Now, I think in a relationship, you're going to have ups and downs. There's ebb and flows. You're going to have those good years, and then you're going to have years maybe where one of you've lost a job or something, and now you're living off of one income. But to me, that's where you plan to ensure that you are financially okay during those times. And to me, that's where the husband steps in to make sure the planning is done. Doesn't mean he's the expert because you may be better at managing the money, but you all have a plan as to what you're going to do to ensure when those rough times come, you're good as a family unit.
I will rebuttal back on your when going back to submission is natural. No, it's no, ma'am, it's not. No, ma'am. When you dating a woman and as a man you're masculine and everything and you want her to submit, she's gonna test you. You're gonna go through some trials and tribulations. She's just not gonna give that up easily. She's gonna challenge you. You're gonna have to prove yourself. You're gonna have to prove yourself in your wisdom. You're gonna have to prove yourself in your leadership. You're gonna have to prove yourself before she says, "Okay, I'll let him drive." So a lot of times, and that takes maybe a year, almost 2 years, for y'all to build that continuity and chemistry for she to know that you got it. It just don't happen naturally. It'll just happen. Any woman up here telling you that they submit to a man off the rip naturally, you're lying.
No, I never said off the rip. No, it's not in the beginning. But for me, I'm just a submissive woman to my man. It's a natural thing for me. It's not something that I'm. Now, you go through dating, right? You go through a situation of you're dating this person and you're vetting, which we talked about yet last night. Vetting this person, it doesn't mean that you're going around doing this, that, and the other. Now, I'm not lying. If I'm in the vetting process, I am being submissive. I am doing duties that a wife would do because at the end of the day, he's vetting, and it just comes natural for me. There is no now. He's not managing my household because we're not in a household, but it's a submission in a different way. So I disagree because it's just natural for me. It's not something that I just have to run into or it comes. It's just a natural thing. Now, how much is submitted to? That's a difference because we're not living in the same household. So you're learning each other. So it's a difference as far as that. But submission, yeah, it's a natural thing. I'm not argumentative. I'm not someone who I give my opinion, but even if I'm in a marriage, I'm supposed to give my opinion. That doesn't mean I'm not submissive because I give my opinion because I push back, but I'm going to always be respectful. And that is just something that is just natural. So I don't have to work up to that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that 100%, that we naturally have the ability to submit and naturally be in our womanhood. So cooking and wanting to clean and actually wanting to show a man what type of wife we are going to be up front. We're up front with a lot of that. Sometimes we give it to the wrong man. You know what I mean? And we give it too quickly because we are naturally like that, right? But also, like the gentleman was saying, like, yeah, a man does have to show a woman security a lot of times to get that full submission within her. Yeah, so they do got to work hard in that for us to feel secure, to really truly submit, you know?
Man who gets a full submission from a woman should see that as a treasure. He's uncovered a treasure out of her. Because for a woman to fully surrender to you, right, to fully trust you, to fully submit under you, under your leadership, under your covering, whether spiritual, emotional, financial, whatever it may be, to completely release her control, that is a gift. And I think, like Bible again, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. That's a gift. If you can do that as a man, you are truly blessed, because it is a very difficult thing, right? Especially in the West, where young girls are kicked out of the house. I'm not saying kicked out, but they're released out of the house at age 18, and now they have to fend for themselves, or young men for that matter too. And to relinquish, to fully trust someone, like, you got me, I know you got me, I trust you 100%. It's not an easy thing to do. It's really not an easy thing to do. Yeah, naturally we're gonna be feminine and we're gonna be nurturing, we're gonna clean and cook and do those things. But to fully give that trust to a man, that's one we even have a hard time trusting God if we believe in him or
And that's his and host. That's exactly what I'm talking about. She hit it right on the nail because a lot of times a woman is used to doing her own thing. So in order for her to get under your covering, get under your leadership, to fully trust what you're saying, I mean, walking blind with you, that sometimes take more than just a couple of months or a year or two. That takes a while. So it's and so that man has his steps has to be ordered by God. She has to understand that he is really getting that knowledge and wisdom from God to want to follow her and follow him and everything. It just does not happen off the rip, or even months and months going down. So I understand what the young lady was saying earlier. Maybe she's basically saying there's levels to it.
There's
I
levels.
agree with that. But as far as total submission, bro, like
I need some
Flava
ripping
said,
today.
that is something that you don't see. But when you do see it, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, no one's gonna give you total submission. You just met them, like you're just meeting each
No, no,
other.
no. I'm saying even in a year or two or three, that woman is still trying to understand the being led properly anyway. Because even when you lead the woman properly, she's still afraid. She's still scared.
No, like
I want to ask the lady. I want to ask the ladies on the panel, if a man is dealing with a woman and he's treating her good and he's decent towards her, but for some reason she won't submit, whether it's his wife, whether it's fiance, or it's a long term relationship. What do you guys take that as you being women? What does that mean?
he doesn't trust them.
But he haven't given her a reason not to trust.
I can.
I'm not talking about an unbalanced man. I'm talking about a man that's 70% on his purpose. He focused. He's not perfect because we're not perfect, but he's 70 to 100% on his purpose.
I
What
can.
do the ladies? What from the perspective of the ladies? I like to hear each lady tell me what that means when the woman just won't submit, not even to him, but she just won't submit. Period.
It could be an issue with her upbringing. It could be the way that she was raised. That's associated with some type of vicarious trauma. Usually, when a woman is coming in the door and they won't submit and they can't see, they can't seem to recognize that that man is amazing, they're associating him with something that they've experienced before.
Okay, I want the other ladies to speak on that, and then I want to ask another question right after that.
Next, Anjanita, did I say that right? Did I say that right, Anjanita?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Awesome. No, she's 100% right. When you've lived, and I'm speaking from a place, a woman who had to go through extensive healing journey, right? When you are in a survival mode, right? It's either fight or flight. Sometimes freeze when it's extreme, meaning your nervous system freezes in place. That's sometimes when you see grown folk really kind of stuck at a very young age of mindset, right? They're frozen in place because of some kind of trauma. So when somebody suffers compounded trauma, right, over time, addition more from childhood and from teenage years, from, relationships, all those things, it can actually put them in that place of frozen, and there's nothing you can do or say to change them. They would have to come to that place of making a decision for themselves. That is not your person. Even if you might love them very much, maybe help them and tell them what they need to do, but there's nothing you can do. It's the same thing with an addict. When you're dealing with an addict, I mean, you've seen parents who bring their kids home to clean them up. I mean, if you've seen Tyler Perry movies, that's depiction right there. Until somebody makes a decision to really let it go, take off that burden, and fully open up and trust. Trusting, here's how you build trust for someone who's gone through trauma and hard things. Trust is not saying that there's a guarantee that somebody's not going to break my heart, or there's a guarantee that hard things won't come. You build trust because you have overcame. So what that means is you look back and you realize, man, I overcame that and I handle it. I overcome this and I handle it. And then once you get to a place where you're ready to release, you say, you know what? I know how to overcome. So whatever comes, I'm going to trust. I'm gonna meet Play. I'm gonna meet, Monica, whatever, and I'm not going to project anything on them. I'm just gonna trust that they're good people, that we're in alignment. And if anything goes wrong, I've been trained. I've been in boot camp to deal with these things. That's how trust comes about. It's not a guarantee. So if you deal with somebody who cannot trust, you might have to pull back a little bit.
Man. The other ladies?
Was your question, what is it when you just can't get a woman to submit although the man is doing everything that he needs to be doing?
Yes, basically, yeah.
I would say if they've been married for years and he's been doing what he's supposed to be doing for years, and she may just not want him. In the beginning, because me being a single independent woman, um, I haven't ever been in a position in life where I could just really depend on a man. So I understand how at the beginning of marriage, it can take some adjusting for that woman to get used to the fact that she has a partner, a mate there that she can depend on and rely on, and she don't have to be superwoman all the time. But if it's just years and that man been on his job and that woman just won't submit, either she don't want him or she just want to be in control of that marriage or that relationship. Maybe she's just a controlling person and she just not going to be submissive to a man, because some women view submission as bowing down to a man. They feel like it's making themselves inferior, when really it's not. So to me, it would be between those things.
Okay, Miss Monica, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I
I'm gonna let you
definitely
talk.
agree with all of that, but I also can say that that sounds like pure narcissism to me. That's a narcissist right away, right?
Wow.
Like people are made narcissists. They're not born narcissists, right? So the trauma of childhood, the trauma of abandonment, not loved, always have to be guarded. That's what builds a narcissist. If you guys don't know what is narcissism, they have to be protecting themselves all the time. They lose empathy. They're the strength of everything because no one was strong for them. So they're always on guard. So even when it comes to a relationship, now they don't even submit to trust because that narcissism is already built inside them. So they're going to always have that control, right? That overbearing, that non submissiveness attitude. It's built in women or men, you know, and that's the danger, right? You can't change a narcissist, unfortunately. That's a problem, right? And if you've ever been encountered with one, and I have, whoa, there's no changing that.
So you tying non-submission into a form of narcissism.
Indeed, I
Wow.
am. Yeah.
Wow.
When it comes to a woman in that sense, right? Because men can be narcissists too. And when they're the narcissist, that's when they don't value the submission, right? They control that submission, right? So they break a person down in the submissiveness that they're supposed to be, right? They take and they take and they take. Yeah.
That's deep. Go ahead, Miss Call Me.
Yeah, I think that we have to understand that everybody doesn't believe in submission. I think that's the first thing. Not every woman believes in that. And because they don't believe in it, they're not willing to do it. They may do it a little bit for you, but they're not willing to give in completely. So I
Do you
think
think that relationship can thrive and survive if she don't want to submit to her leader or the person that's supposed to be giving her provision?
I think it can, and I think some do because I think that some men don't want to lead. And so some women are the leaders in their family and it works for them. Whether that's good or bad, but even though that's not the natural order of things, but in some relationships the woman is the
You
man.
think it can be good if it's unnatural?
Oh, I don't think it's good. It's not good for me. That's not how it's supposed to be. But in their eyes, it's the best thing since sliced bread. You know,
I gotta agree with I gotta agree with her on this one.
and that's what I was
It does work for some men. Those can be beta or sigma men.
and that's what I was saying that it's submission.
With the woman leading, you think it's really working for him?
No, I don't. I'm not saying it's working
No,
for them.
right?
I'm
She didn't
saying
say that.
that in their minds it is right. You see some people doing things, breaking the law. In their minds, it's working for them. Their minds, they think they're getting over.
They
So
going to jail.
yeah, a lot of things that are not what they should be. People are thinking they're really getting over, right? So, the natural order is for the men to be the leaders. But just keeping it real, there's some men who don't want to be leaders. There are some men who are weak. And then there are some women who are very masculine. So it flips, you know. And we've all seen those types of relationships. We just have, where he don't say nothing. She can talk to him like the nastiest thing in the world. So hey, I'm not here to tell them how to live. I'm just saying biblically, that's not how it's supposed to be.
I see that, a host. I see that the men that they're talking about, those are raised in single parent households where the women do everything. I was raised in a two parent household. I saw my dad live like King Kong in our house. He tore our asses up. He didn't play. So we didn't we wasn't afforded to let a woman handle everything. We did everything for our mom and for our aunts and for our grandmama. We wasn't raised like that. So a lot of men that you see as betas and stuff like that, look at how they brought up. And a lot of times the women is doing everything. So when they get older and they do get a woman, they are fine with the woman stepping back and doing everything because their mom did everything. So is it's kind of like a lot of our women are raising these and then dating them too. So you gotta look at the source too. So at the same time, on the flip side, there's a lot of fathers who don't want to be fathers, or there's some fathers who are fighting to be fathers. So at the end, that's a whole nother discussion why these men are not stepping up to be what they call to be because of their environment. If you want a wolf, you got to put a wolf with wolves. You can't put a wolf with sheep and still think after he be around them sheep, he gonna be still a wolf. That's just not how it works. He gotta come out. He gotta come off the porch with the dog, so he can come out there and be with us and get and understand what it's like to be in the trenches and be a man. Men don't pout. Men don't complain. We understand what goes on, and we have to figure it out. This is why we don't talk to our women a lot of times about what's going on. I'll talk to another man because a lot of our women do not understand what we go through on a daily basis. Yeah, you can console us on some things, but if I'm crying about this ain't going up, courts are going up, eventually you're gonna get tired of it and be like, I ain't got time for this. Let me find me a new leader.
I'm gonna land. I was gonna finish saying what I was saying to your question, and I also wanted to say not only that some women don't want to submit. We have to understand that every woman is not meant to be a wife, and I think that that's where we get confused. Just because you like them doesn't mean that they're wife material.
Uh
There's
oh.
a difference.
Host. I see you breathing over there, host. Oh.
Hey, sit down. Let her go and finish.
Yeah, and so you're wanting to put what a square peg in a round hole. She's not meant to be a wife. That's not who she is. And so there's maybe, and like Monica said, there's narcissism, there's selfishness, and because she's not meant to be a wife. Being a wife is selfless, and there are many women who are not selfless. And that means, and I'm not saying all women by no means, right? But I'm saying being a wife, there are certain characteristics that you really need to be a wife, and selflessness is one of them. And if you're dating someone and it's all about them, you have to question yourself as to why you're spending so much time with someone that is not even wife material. And I land.
Damn. Wow.
Gotta give her credit on that one. Yeah, yeah. Tell you how to run your business, but
Hold on,
That's
let
a
me ask a
mic drop.
question.
I
Did
was
you
looking
just
for
say?
another one. Go ahead, Bez. Then.
No, I was just asking this question. Did you just say I landed?
Yeah, the lady.
Yeah, they call. Did you just say I landed? You've been on this planet at least 4 decades. I know it.
So the next question after that, it seemed like you guys kind of answered it. Is it possible? Well, Monica brought up the narcissism. I already know, not for them. But is it possible for that woman to learn how to submit or not, no matter who she gets with?
I can change anybody. I don't know. I don't want to answer that one.
But I know you. I was trying to not, because we just say God things I am is possible, but for narcissism, from what I'm learning, it's almost like almost a dead end for them. So I was just wondering, by you guys being ladies, I was just asking your insight, because just based on the question, can love survive without financial stability? And then you look at somebody that can't submit. Are they compromised in their ability? Can a narcissist truly love somebody? Are they compromising their ability to even love if they having these sort of issues with submission and narcissism?
Well, I think to answer your question regarding submission, I'm gonna go there. I don't believe that everybody who don't submit are narcissists. So I can't combine both of those questions. But what I can say is I do believe that you are able to change. Um, I think that with a lot of change that I've seen with the people that I have experienced is being younger. So I think it's easier to mold someone that's a little bit younger than to mold someone that's a little bit older. However, if you are older and you really want to change, and there are women who may be getting up in age a little bit, and they may be deciding that, man, I really want to be a wife. Like this is something that I really want to do. They'll change in order to have what they need to have in order to become a wife, even though I know a lot of people say that it's harder when women get older. I still do think that they have the ability to change if that's something that they really want to do. But I do think it's easier to change when you're younger.
Hey, Miss Trinity 007, if you want to speak, you can go ahead and speak to the topic, or if you heard the conversation, you can chime in if you there. Okay, I guess not. Trinity, you there?
Myself on mute.
Okay. I was saying if you wanted to chime in, you could.
Yeah, I think the older that we get, I think that men are much more able to pass shit by, like within relationships. I think men are much more easier to like look by stuff, whereas women stay like nagging or in the nitty gritty. And I think that that's a big downfall. Like, I think, regardless of circumstance, right? Like, you've been through stuff, I've been through stuff, whatever. I think the older we get, men just want to have like good time, good life, peace with their relationships. And I think that women with age want to have peace and just leave it all behind and whatever within relationships, but have a harder time allowing that to actually happen.
I got you. I understand that part. What you think about submission?
I think that like okay, so I'm gonna say this and I might not, whatever.
Go ahead, speak your mind.
Yeah, I think women need to be submissive to men. And when a woman can be submissive to a man, he will be all that more willing to provide and be a man and have, like, when you are as a woman submissive to a man, you are allowing him to be masculine. And his masculinity and what he's going to do for you is going to be all that much more willingness is going to come from him when you are submissive to him, because when you are putting up this feminist I can whatever with him, and you're putting up these walls or you're trying to overcome him, then you are taking away from everything that he, like, we as women, we are very capable, but within a man, our job is to be a place of discernment, a place of wisdom, a place of support, a place of understanding, a place of comfort, a place of love, and a place of peace. So if we are not providing those things to him, then anything other than that, we are taken away from who he is as a man. So we need to allow him to uh, be, we need to allow him to take control. We need to allow him to be the progressor. We need to allow him to be the force front. We need to allow him to be the charge front. We need to allow him to hold the reins, right? He got to hold the reins. He holds the reins. Like, I'm not first, my man is first. Like, he's the king, I'm the queen, right? Like, he makes the rules. I'm there to make sure that the rules he's making are okay, right? Like, I'm there to be his wisdom, discernment, and understanding for the rules that he makes. But at the end of the day, he's gonna make the rules, right? So I think that men, and especially today within the feminist movement, men today have just lost completely. Like, we went through a phase before the feminist movement where there was just disrespect. And then now within the feminist movement, it becomes this place of like, I don't need a man, or man isn't anything. And it's sad because men are actually everything. They're everything. And we are nothing without them. And for us to sit here and put ourselves in this place of thinking that we are okay without them is a false, evil mindset that is only destructive to our own women, that will only hurt us in the end, because we do need them. They are the forefront. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really sad. Like, especially I think about like women that are very much in that feminist mindset that are raising sons. It's hard because, like, if anything, we should be raising our sons and raising our young boys up to know how strong they are and every man has a power over women. And if you might not like it, you might not want to acknowledge it, but a man has a power over us. And it just is what it is because it should be how it is. They do. And we should be able to say, okay, yeah, like a strong ass man will be like, I have power over a woman. And then a strong ass man will at the same time be like, I have power over women, but I will listen to this one strong woman that gives me discernment and understanding, and I will take whatever she has to say and allow it to make my decisions. Like, have y'all not seen 300?
What's that? The movie?
The movie 300. So the movie 300 is based off of Spartans. Historically, the Spartans were like the Greek Persian. So the 300, it was like an army of 300 men that defeated tens of thousands of men. They were like the most barbaric, whatever, fighting men of all time. And if you watch that movie, you see the leader of this army was the most barbaric, fighting, strong man possible. And he would look to his wife in every decision that he made and trusted her discernment.
Yeah, that's the one when he came in there with the something about the head, and the man was standing
Yeah.
down a little hole, and he looked to his wife, and she gave him
And
a little nod.
he threw that dude
Yeah, I
dude
like
in the
that movie.
pit.
I like that movie.
He
Wow.
threw that dude in the pit for disrespecting his woman.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's the exact, like, we're still doing that. And we should still live by that, right? Like, not to that day of the barbaricness,
I
right?
got
But
you.
like,
I know
as
what
far
you're
as the
saying.
respect goes, like, we need to, as women, be submissive to the man, but also the man needs to understand the discernment that the woman brings to him. So it's really sad now that we live in this world, in this time frame, where women just are all about, I don't need a man don't mean nothing, if you don't bring money, if you don't bring dollar bills, if this, that, whatever, all this kind of stuff, because all that is going to mean nothing, and it's not long lasting. As far as if you're trying to hold a real relationship, if that's what you want, go ahead, go do you, right? But then don't be mad when something happens.
Right.
Right? Don't be mad when all of a sudden you're just being a gold digger and all of a sudden your man wants to find another girl to replace you. Don't be mad about it. Or don't be a trifling this, that, whatever, right? And at the same time, for men, don't be mad when you look at something like that or you're playing around and some girl does you dirty, you know? People are so quick to jump into stuff because we are so needy and we are so insecure in ourselves to need somebody else to fulfill us. And
Senator, can I ask you a question?
yeah, what's up?
You made the comment about who makes the rules and you just follow them. Is that what that's your job as a woman? Just follow his rules?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that
I'm sorry, I just needed clarity.
no, yeah, no, I'm not saying that at all. Like, I'm saying that, like, he lays down the sandstone in the foundation, and then, like, when you're building a house, you got a foundation, right? Foundation is built. You lay down the foundation. And then on top of that foundation, you got bricks, you got wood, you got electrical wires, you got all kinds of stuff building up on that foundation, right? The man is the foundation. We as women are there to attribute to the bricks, to the wires, to the windows, to the panels, to the caulk seal, to everything, right? So the man lays down the foundation, and we as women are there to build off of the foundation.
I think I kind of disagree. I think that we do it together, right? We discuss what we want, He's listening to what I want, right? And he's going to make that final decision. But I do have a say so because he's going to listen to me because he wants me to be happy, just like I want him to be happy. So I guess I look at it as yes, ultimately he makes the decision, but it's not that he just says, hey, this is what it is and this is what we're doing. We've had a discussion together and I've shared my input, I've shared my thoughts, and at the end of the day, he makes a decision. And what I'm hearing you say is that he just makes a decision. And that's where I'm just trying to get an understanding.
Right. I kind of heard the same thing in that sense, but I do see where she's trying to get at in the sense of submission, right? But it's kind of at the same sense we were saying that before as we are the quiet leaders as well, you know? Let me
Right.
just give a quick, perfect example of a natural submission of
I'm
order.
not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at
Oh,
all.
wait, let me just finish that real quick. Like the natural order of submission, in the sense of an example, my water heater broke in the house. Woke up, no water. The water was flooded in the basement. I don't know if y'all own homes, but water heaters are expensive, and it's a it's a mess to deal with, right? But when you do it, you have to get the water heater out of there, get somebody to go.
Right.
You got to go buy one, and then have somebody put it in for you,
It's a
right?
damn job.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I got a quote and got all that right, and went to Home Depot, got the water heater, whatever, and we got a quote on the installation. And my man said to me, "Oh yeah, no, 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 that's way too much. That can't be that hard. I looked at it on YouTube. Me and my homie go and try to put it in. Take it out and put the water heater in. And now he's not no electrician. You know what I mean? He's not no like that, right? I know for a fact that he's not going to be able to do this water heater, right? I know. But I did not come at him and say, absolutely not. You're not doing that, dude. You can't do it. I'm calling the guy to do it, right? When he came to me and said that, I said, okay. I said, okay, honey. Y'all try to do it. If you want to save some money, go ahead. You and your homie try to do it. I said, just don't blow up the house. You know what I mean? That's a lot of gas and electric. And he said, no, 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 we got it. Don't worry. And I said, okay. And he did it. They ended up getting it out, right? And then they started unpacking it. And as soon as it was time to put that thing in, he came upstairs and said, yeah, babe, yeah, that's not happening. Let's go ahead and call that guy. And I didn't say I told you so or anything. All I said was, okay, I'm glad y'all tried,
Sure.
but it's all good. Yeah, we'll call the guy, right? But at the end of the day, I didn't strip his manhood
Yeah.
away. You know what I mean? I submitted to the fact that that's what he wanted to do, and he thought he could do it, even though in my mind, I knew for a fact this
Right.
wasn't going to
Oh,
happen.
100%.
You know?
There's been many a times, 100%, where we as women are like, yeah, we know what to do. And we just let the man do shit. And then we're like, yeah, I told you so. But we don't really say I told you so. We just say it in our head with shit like that. I'm talking about more of like foundation of relate. Like I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about like the foundation of relationships as far as like a man laying the foundation that a woman can build on in a more depthful, onion layered type of thing, right? Like, I'm not talking about like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's foundational submission in general. Like to be submissive is
Well,
to
I
have
guess,
every
I guess
little
maybe
bit
I
of
just
it, right?
was thinking a little bit more like in depth or deeper than that. I don't know.
Since there's only ladies left, I have a question for y'all. I would love to see what you think. At what point does a woman withdraw her submission? Let's say you meet your husband, he's lay out the plan, everything looks good, looks perfect. The plan is that he's gonna hold you down, maybe while you have kids, while you're home raising kids and stuff like that. You get pregnant 8 months in, he lapses, he's using smugs, he's drinking, he's not showing up for work. You know what I mean? What do you do? At what point do you pull your submission away?
Right then and there, what you said, that irresponsible. I'm not going to be taken down with the ship, you
And he
know?
pulled his leadership away. He
Yeah,
did. He pulled the leadership away by
yeah.
doing what you're saying. So really, How do you submit to someone who's not leading?
Exactly. He's failed. He's failed, and that's when a woman needs to make the decision that she's out. And I think a lot of women make the wrong decision to stay sometimes with that.
Well, I'm not sure if you
When
should be
men
out
say
though.
that,
I don't know if you should be out. I'm not in agreement on being out because I think if he's going through what Thriving said, there's something going on. And for me, I'm not ready to just give up because he's failed. He's fallen down. I think that's where we really step up and become helpmates because he's fallen. And that's when we come in and take up the slack to find out what's going on. What can we do? You may have to work or when you haven't been working or you're working more hours because he's dealing with whatever he's dealing with. If this isn't his norm, something is going on and I'm not ready to give up on him because he's falling.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference between falling and falling inadequately falling, like when there's drugs involved and addictions and problems of that nature that is now taking a huge toll in all of those problems and aspects. Sometimes those things don't ever go away. You know what I mean? And then you live in that capacity of that toxic environment, That's unhealthy, you know?
Part, so death do his part.
Hey, Miss Sunshine, you want to speak? Are you there? Okay.
No, I just came in and I'm just trying to listen.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, Mr. Freddie G, you there? You want to speak?
Well, what's up? I'm just coming in too, so
Gotcha.
I'm
Okay.
reading. I'm
All
reading
right.
your prompt that say, "Can love survive without financial stability?" It should be able to, but it's gonna be rough. You understand? Because shit, y'all got to have somewhere to live. You got to have something to eat. You got to have a car to drive. Like there's no way around that money's gonna be a part of the relationship. It can't survive without it. It's impossible. But that don't mean you should give up just cause y'all, just cause money a little rough right now either. You know what I mean? Cause
Right.
money go up and down all the time. Like that can change. You understand what I'm saying? So how I look at that, if a person showing real potential and they really putting in work, then sometimes you just gotta tough it out a little bit. It's a lot of real strong couples out there that didn't start off that way. You know what I mean? So people gotta start somewhere. So I guess it's up to the person, like what are they willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to really help the team make it?
Right.
So that's what. But he's gonna have to have some money. It just like I said, ain't no way around it though. You got to do something, get 2 jobs, get another job. You got to do something.
I know what I noticed that this is I've this is always an argument in the black community. It's not really an argument with any other race. And I have to say it can be frustrating and overwhelming to try to get a race of men to understand or conform to something that their father should have taught them, or their father wasn't there, the mother should have taught them. Because you as a woman, you know how you would want a man to treat you. So you could instill that same thing in your son, whether his father was there or not. Just like I always told myself, if I, was a single mom raising a son on my own, I would teach and show my son how to treat women based on how I would want to be treated. You can't lay in my house on the sofa all day and play PlayStation, because I won't want no man in my house laying all day on the sofa playing PlayStation. I want you to get up and go cut the yard. I want you to go wash the car. I want you to do something productive. And me, women can teach their sons how to be responsible men with good work ethics. You may not be able to show him how to be a man, but you can raise him to be a responsible individual that take accountability for his actions, and you can teach him how to treat a woman because you know how you would want to be treated. But a lot of single moms, they don't do that. They just coddle their sons. So now we have a generation full of men that want to fight, argue, and debate about why do they need to provide? Why is financial stability important for them? But if your mother, your father would have taught you these things, you wouldn't have to debate and argue. You would just be getting out there trying to get your money up and making sure you stable as a man. But it's always a debate. And I tell women, I'm not finna fight with no man about what you should do. If you ain't gonna do what you're supposed to do, I'm gonna leave you alone, and I'm gonna make myself available for the man that do want to do it. I'm not gonna argue with you all day about what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be at. If you don't get it, you're just gonna be left in the dust, and I'm gonna be moving on to the next person. So that being said,
Well, then you say they parents should have taught them, but in a lot of cases, the parents didn't know themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Like so, and I mean not to make excuses, but a lot of people really didn't have that. You know, everybody didn't have that.
they mamas know, they mamas just don't care. They mamas know because how you as a woman, how you don't know how you would want a man to treat you. I mean, how you don't know that it's not okay to let your son be lazy all day and lay on the sofa and play video games, and you're literally raising a boy to a man. How you don't know that you're supposed to be in your son's life
Because most of them
but
is
wait a minute,
lazy.
but let me finish, brother. How you don't know you supposed to be in your son's life when your daddy left you and abandoning you, and it hurt you, and you saw that it hurt you, but you decide to do the same thing to your son. Some people know, they just don't care. They don't care enough to raise their children the right way.
I don't think a lot of people, when you say how is it that they don't know? Well, if you've never seen it, never seen a man treat a woman a certain way. A woman is taught her worth by her father. A man is taught how to be a man by his dad. His father.
Correct.
So at some point, as a woman, you've never been taught that. You've never seen it. You've never seen a couple. You've never seen how a man is supposed to treat a woman. So how do you then train your children when you've never seen it?
I
One.
but sister, can I say something? I just stated that.
Let me
I
land.
I'm sorry.
Let me land. You take over. And then secondly, you only teaching your son the best you know how, because most of them actually treat them like they're their man. One. Two, as a woman, you're treating your daughter that she don't need a man. So she's coming up, growing up masculine and talking about I don't need, I don't need, I don't need. So your question was, how is it that they don't know? Because they've never seen it and their mama's never taught it to them. But she's never seen it, unfortunately.
That applies in some cases, and in other cases, unfortunately, some parents don't really care enough to properly raise their kids. It's not that they don't know any better; they just don't want to put the extra foot forward. Because I said a woman can't show her son how to be a man because she's not a man, but she can show him and teach him how to treat a lady, how to treat a woman. Just like me, I haven't been in a whole bunch of relationships in my life, but I know what kind of man I would want as a woman. I want a man that's not lazy, that don't mind getting up and working, that's not trying to slouch off on a woman. A man that's romantic. You know what I'm saying? That don't mind bringing a woman flowers. Everything that I would want in a man. If I had a son and his father was not present, I would instill all the things in you as your mom, as I would want in a man. Just like if I had sons today, I would tell them, look, listen, don't no woman want no broke man. Don't no woman like no lazy broke man. And I need you to know this as your mom. You need to be financially stable as a man. A man that don't work, don't eat. And I'm telling you this is your mom. I would instill that in my son from a early age. I would instill in him how to be a provider. My son would be working, honey, as soon as he can get to walking and talking. If I was a single mom. So I can instill in you how to treat a woman and teach you how to be an accountable individual who is responsible and have good work ethics. I can teach you and raise you to be an upstanding individual who knows how to treat and take care of a woman, because as a mama, I'm gonna put that in you. And I ain't have to see this. I didn't grow up in no household with this. I just know what I want out of a man as a woman and what I've always desired. I'm not gonna raise you to be like the man who left me with you. I'm not gonna coddle you into being that man. I'm gonna raise you to be the man that I always wanted, that I wish that was there for the both of us. That's just what I'm saying. Just me.